Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News, and I'm your host, Ellie, and this is a weather and lifestyle news show. Starting a little late. Boy, I everything I could do to scramble in here and get in the chair and get fixed, and yeah. So the weather, boy, potential tropical cyclone. Wow. We're not done yet. Now, like I said, we should have had a little bit more hurricane action, and we're not seeing it. And I think um, what the Weather Channel is trying to do is build up something. We just don't know what they want to build up.
That is spinning off the southeast coast. Pretty soon is going to be Tropical Storm Ophelia, or possibly Subtropical Storm Ophelia. I don't really care what the name of it's going to be. In fact, let's not even focus on that too much. I just want to focus on what the impacts are going to be because we have a really good idea of what's going to happen. So if you live in some of these spots from the North Carolina coast up through parts of the Delmarva, just pay close attention here because there are going to be some significant impacts. Right now, the max sustained wind is at about 35 miles an hour. It's moving north at 9 miles an hour, but we do have tropical storm warnings that are in effect from parts of the Delmarva all the way down through the North Carolina coast. That means that we are expecting tropical storm conditions to develop. We'll have some, wind gusts likely over 50 miles an hour at times, in addition to some storm surge flooding, which I think is going to be at its worst on Saturday, about 2 to 4 feet from Cape Hatteras up toward parts of the Virginia coast as well, including Virginia Beach. As far as the time of arrival of the tropical storm force winds, I'd say Friday evening along the North Carolina coast, Saturday morning as you get farther up toward the north. And the thing with this storm is that it's going to keep strengthening as it approaches the coast. But then once it moves inland, that's when it loses its strength. But you pay attention to the wind direction here. It's coming onshore on the north side of where the center is, and that's why we're going to have the storm surge flooding, especially during the high tides on Saturday. Keep that in mind, as I mentioned. Also, there's going to be some very heavy rain, possibly enough to cause some flooding, especially in some of the coastal areas there I was talking about.
Flooding again up the East Coast getting slammed. Boy, it's storm after storm. All right, so fall chill ahead, folks. Everybody ready for fall? Are they ready for the chill?
More fall-like air
There
is
we
going to be
go.
moving into the west courtesy of a cold front. So those above average highs, those are going to shift to the east. And well, we'll have fall temperatures move in for this weekend with a chance for some high elevation mountain snow. There's a look at the picture this Wednesday. Salt Lake City, 83 degrees for your high. Portland, 70s. As we go into the weekend and that front continues to progress to the east, we'll see that cooler air start to settle in. And this is going to dip temperatures in a lot of areas as much as 10 to 15 degrees below average. So some chilly stuff on the way for some of you. Billings Saturday, 61 degrees for your high. We'll see Salt Lake City, you'll only fall to the 70s. Not too bad there, but in the higher elevations of the mountains, this is where we'll have the real cold stuff and the potential for some snow through Saturday.
Snow. Yes, snow. We ready for snow? No, nobody wants to dig out the snow yet. They don't want to get out their snow plows, their snow diggers, and the shovel. Nobody's ready yet. We're still into we want fall. How about we have fall for a couple months and then snow? That's what we get in Arkansas. We don't get our snow till January. Uh, Boy, this is going to be a a weird weekend going in next week. Um, my son's birthday was on the 25th, and boy, his death really just jolts me. It can bring a parent to their knees, especially a mom when they lose their sons. 25th. So bear with me over the next few days and into next week. So I'm grieving, badly grieving for my son, and I miss him a bunch. And I can't wait to see him again. I've He was taken way too soon. And for those asking what happened, he was in a car accident. And I'll tell this again on the 25th. He lost. He Now I think he was sleeping in the passenger seat. The driver lost control. It flipped the car 4 or 5 times. He was thrown probably over 150 feet. A couple blood transfusions didn't save him. Prayers, and he was okay. He came to me many years beforehand and said, "Mom, my 25th birthday, I'm going to go. Christ will need me." And he said he's been told this. Well, when he was 25 years old on the September 25th, he thought, hey, maybe I was wrong. And within a few months, he was gone. So if Christ needs him, and this is what his calling was, I gotta respect that. And I teeter with it back and forth, folks, whether I'm mad about it or it's okay. So hang in there with me. I know Karen has. All right, so we got some earthquakes. Oh boy, earthquakes. Um, I don't even know where to start with this. Um, the biggest one being Guam. Guam, really? 5.0. The other one was over in New Zealand, 5.7. Then we had another 5.4 in Sandpoint, Alaska. This is more than what it was earlier when I pulled them. Afghanistan, 4.1. There was nothing going on over there. So, and it's 120 miles deep. And then there was a bunch towards Alaska that I seen earlier, Central Alaska 3.3. And the farthest one over was in Velma, Oklahoma, 2.8. This was only about 10 miles deep. So this was very shallow. They had one over in White City, New Mexico, and there was one in Arcata earlier. It was about a 5.0. And I mean, it was pretty much really busy, real close to Cupertino, California, 2.9. And then we had Valley Ranch at 2.8. Next one we got to look at is Argentina, 4.5. And, that's pretty much it. Um, Iran, 4.4. Now, Iran, I always hold my breath on. Is that an explosion or is that really an earthquake? There was only 20 earthquakes today, with some of these big ones, and then those that have traveled across the United States. I'm looking at Pennsylvania up. Karen and Susan, beware. But usually they've been hitting around Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, right around there. But we're going to see. South Carolina has been having plenty of quakes, and so has Yellowstone. Yellowstone gets about 100 a day. What about Yosemite? Yosemite's been pretty quiet. I've been watching. It looks pretty quiet. And, at one point north of that park, we had a lot of earthquakes. Well, they settled down again. Now we're getting all around Northern California, Oregon, Washington, into Alaska. So, boy, all right. So, thousands of mink. Boy, mink. Get yourself a mink coat. Well, no, everybody gets upset about that. The animal rights people don't do that. But there is thousands of mink on the loose in Pennsylvania. Everywhere you look, there's minks. What do you think, Susan and Karen? Up to 8,000 mink are on the loose in Pennsylvania, as residents are being encouraged to stay away from them. Someone cut holes. They say someone cut holes in the fence in uh, Northumberland County in early morning hours, releasing 6 to 8,000 mink from their pens. I don't know if they were in trouble, but they let all their minks loose, which is very cruel because these minks are used to being in a cage, being fed. Now they have to fend for themselves. The mink range from size to 12 to 20 inches and could be black, brown, white, and color. Right now, it's like living in some sort of sci-fi movie horror film. Everywhere you look, there's minks, minks, minks. This was a Facebook post. Running through the fields, standing in the roads, trying to find shelter in random houses. They're scared. They're aggressive. Uh, the animal hospitals are trying to gather them up. They said these are not pets. They're used to being locked up and it kept from the population, kept from human touch. Mink are referred to as Pennsylvania's most efficient predators, according to the state's commission. Animal rights groups have long spoken out against the mink farming, and so for some reason, they let them loose. The FBI is seeking suspects in familiar incidents in Ohio, Michigan from November 2022 to 23. All these minks are being let loose. According to what has been said, all the states involved, that they are looking into and animal rights and even animal cruelty. 40,000 minks are running loose. Wow. 40, when they said a couple dozen, went to a couple thousand, I thought, wow, these poor little critters. And then now we're finding out 40,000. What are they going to do with 40,000 minks? Huh. It's getting more, and the more we are seeing the influx of everybody into Europe, the more they're starting to see uh, toxic air. And, I have to look at Europe. It's not about the cars, it's not about um, the coal, it's nothing but just people. But now uh, I'm going to let her tell you about it and see what you think, because this is very worrisome for Europe.
Virtually all of Europe is dealing with a severe public health crisis. That's the finding from an investigation from The Guardian. It discovered that 98% of all Europeans are breathing air that contains more fine particle pollution than is recommended by the World Health Organization. The investigation focused on PM 2.5, which is a pollutant that's mostly caused by burning fossil fuels. It's responsible for some 400,000 deaths across Europe each year, according to The Guardian. Eastern Europe is the epicenter of the worst readings in countries like Poland, Serbia, and Albania. But the industrial Po Valley of Italy is also an area of concern. Experts say it's a problem that needs immediate action, as air pollution affects virtually every organ in the body and can have serious health impacts.
So when oh boy, I didn't show it. Oops. I hope you guys heard it. So, what we're looking at, folks, with the pollution, there you go. They're blaming fossil fuels. And the fossil fuels has been cut back. It's more like coal and clean coal. And they want to blame the fossil fuels because they don't know what's causing the pollution in Europe, in Poland and Albania and many other countries over there. And what gets me, folks, is that um, there's not that many cars that are oil. It's mainly the EV cars that they've been forced to buy, or they're walking, they're busing. And, and the coal isn't causing this. And it's very concerning because now we have the World Forum moving over there to take a look to see what it is. And they automatically pinpointed it on the oil industry. No, they have shut down a lot of the oil industry and now burning coal. So we'll have to see where this leads. All right, so um, Soyuz docks International Space Station with two Russians and one American. Now, this here really surprised me, folks, because we're talking two Russians and an American. And Laurel O'Hare Roscomos, uh, cosmonauts Oleg Cohen Echo and Nikhil Chubb, I know I'm not pronouncing these right, docked at the ISS approximately 3 hours uh, after launch. The trio was supposed to fly by the space station earlier this year, but the original capsule was needed as a replacement for another crew. That crew, also two Russians and an American. Now, what I find interesting with this and the whole NASA is they took off They got there, they got on the space station, and this is two Russians and an American. There is no problem with Russians and Americans in space. They get along just great. China, Korea, no matter what it is that they send up there or who goes up there, they do their job, they do it well, and they all get along just fine. And they don't understand why so many have problems on planet Earth. And they said maybe a lot of people should spend time in space and see that it's peaceful and everyone gets along. Huh, wow. Aspartame could cause memory and learning deficits in the future generations, a new study finds. Um, the non sugar, low calorie sweetener, aspartame, which is found in many sugar free diet foods and drinks, is linked to potential problems with memory and learning. Um, try adding flavors, raspberry flavors or tea flavor, any flavors to water for your uh, mom and dad and your grandparents. Let's save what little bit of memory they have left. In this study, it was published that male mice consumed aspartame at levels deemed safe by the FDA, had an offspring of demonstrated learning and memory deficits. As much as we want to drink these fine colas, they said that 15% that are drinking colas that with aspartame, that's no sugar diets, that's where it's at. 15% of those people drinking that will have some sort of memory deficiency. All right, get off the colas, get off the Diet Cokes. So, on this day in history, I know you're dying to find out what happened. So, on the 21st in 1780, Benedict Arnold betrays the American independence. Shame on him. There was a wild cat that was, let's see, in the road in as Watney. Let's see, I'm trying to think of where this is at. Um, okay, it's not going to say. Um, now, this species was part of the cheetah family. Let's see if I can get a closer. It's not a very good picture, and I wish they would have got a closer picture of this. This was at Yahoo, and I tried. I mean, when I seen Yahoo had it, I said there's got to be a bigger picture, and so I tried, and no, and it wouldn't even let me blow it up. Let's see. This might be a little better, folks, but it still doesn't show. But this is the family of the cheetah, and they say this animal are very slender. They can run 45 miles an hour in just 2.5 seconds. They can reach 60 to 70 miles an hour. They are sparsely across Africa, and the cheetahs likely only exist in 6% of their former range. They say this cat is equal with the cheetah, and it has not been seen. They see a lot of cheetah, they don't see these cats. So this cat is now considered, it's going to be hanging out with the cheetahs. They said if they mix, it'll be a whole new species of cat. Boy, I bet they've been doing it. If they've been around for hundreds of years and they haven't seen them, I bet they've been mating for a very long time. We just don't know it. They might be looking at a cheetah, this weird cat mix. I mean, they're like, now, just now, we're going to take a look at if they mate, then we'll have a new form of cat. There will be a whole new species. Well, if they've been around and they've been hanging out in Africa for hundreds of years, I'm pretty sure they've had kittens. I'm just saying, folks. I'm thinking, yeah, they stayed apart for hundreds of years and now they're going to get together. What's missing in this equation? You get a male, you get a female, and two cats, and they're in the same area, and one's hidden, one's not. Uh, I see kittens. What do you think? What do you think, Karen? What do you think, Susan? I bet they've had kittens already. Why don't they go out and look for the mixed breed? Why? I mean, they seen this. Why not go out and find the mixed breed and find out what the new cat looks like? Come up with a great name. Oh boy. Now, Massachusetts enacts the first of its kind plastic ban. Folks, how many times do you see garbage dumps and all it is plastic bottles, plastic bags? Even my dog, when he gets in the garbage, ends up with plastic around his neck. Somehow with a plastic bag, or he gets one of them bottles. And I was looking at a lot of news articles today and looking around the ground on some of this, and it was like, why is there so much plastic bags and garbage and plastic bottles? Why aren't people picking it up? What happened to keep America clean? Remember the Indian? Late at night, and it'd be the last thing of the night, and this Indian would show up, and a car, I guess a car would go by, and garbage would land at his feet, and you'd see the tear coming down his face. What happened to those? Now everybody they don't care. They just throw their garbage at the beach, especially. Oh my goodness, the beaches are just full of garbage, and it's a generation that doesn't care. And you look at all the generations, they all claim they care. Oh, I throw my garbage away, they all say. They don't. Well, why not just pick up their garbage and just throw it in the can? If Massachusetts Governor Healy announced a ban on procuring single use plastic bottles across the state. She said the move is to help limit ocean pollution and to protect the local endangered species and beaches. I don't normally see governors come forward and want to clean up the garbage and put a ban on plastics. But remember, they took the paper away. Oh, don't use a paper bag because we're cutting down trees. Well, they never stopped cutting down trees. We just went to plastics. Well, not much you can do with paper, but the paper straw didn't work. But why not bring back paper bags? At least they disintegrate in the water, in the mud, where plastics don't. Boy, poisonous saddleback caterpillars showing up in Virginia. Uh, what? Oh, okay, so we have green caterpillars with painful stings have been popping up in the eastern United States. Their saddle-like markings, saddleback caterpillars, are quite the sight. Uh, but don't get your curiosity get the best of you. These little creatures are covered in hairs that secrete an irritating venom. Let me show you a picture of these guys. Then the bird goes. Wow. Saddleback caterpillars. Wow. All right. So these now Lynchburg area residents. So if you're around Lynchburg, the residents there are reporting an increase in sightings just the last couple days. The saddleback caterpillars are the larvae of a species of moth belonging to the family of Limacodidae. Usually less than 1 inch in size, they're primarily green, brown at both ends. They can easily be identified by a large white, green, ringed brown dot that resembles a saddle. So stay away from them. Keep your grandkids away from them. They're pretty. Yeah, I showed you the picture of them. They're definitely kind of unusual, and uh, you might want to pick them up just to see if there's a piece of paper laying on them. What's that green thing? Don't touch them. All right. um. So how many people do the GPS driving things? It says turn right, next stop. Turn right, turn left. Go up two more exits and make a left, and then make a right. Well, now a guy is suing the GPS and Google because when he turned right, it led him off a cliff. I mean, are we paying that much attention? If you're in the darkness and you can't see, put your brights on. He drove off well, he didn't drive off a cliff. I'm sorry, folks. He drove off a collapsed bridge while following Google Maps, claiming it had been informed of. He wasn't informed of the collapsed bridge. So climb on the bridge. Oops, no bridge. Do we put too much faith into GPS driving directions? I'm like, no, let's just get lost. Let me give the directions. I'm better at getting us lost than GPS is. To give to my brother's house, it had us an hour out of our way just to get there. It was like, oh, you don't just go to Nashville. You don't drive on the freeway. You go off, up, around, and come down and take this. It was monotonous, and of course I wasn't driving. They're like, oh, no, no, this is how we get there. I was like, isn't there a freeway that just gets right to Asheville? No, we got to go this way and that way and turn right, and it was dark, almost like it was leading us to drive off a bridge. So folks, this guy here, Philip Paxton, medical device salesman and father of two, drowned September after his Jeep, a Gladiator, plunged at Snow Creek in Hickory. And what he was doing is he was driving home and it said, do this. So he did. Don't put so much into GPS. Boy, there's like 3 or 4 stories in this of people that took a wrong turn. GPS said, make a right, go straight for like 2 miles, and boom, it's no road, a cliff, a bridge, ice, a river. Uh, is GPS updating their stuff enough to let you know when things aren't there? According to GPS, no. They only do so many pictures per month and only so many updates per month. So your bridge on that right hand turn might not show up for 3 months. Now that's scary. All right, marriage quotes. We're down to the funny post of the day. In the beginning, God created earth and rested. Then God created man and rested. Then God created woman. Since then, neither God or man has rested. Oh, ouch. My wife and I are inseparable. In fact, last week, it took 4 state troopers and a dog to get us apart. Creepy. I didn't read these ones, folks. Do you know that punishment for bigamy? 2 mothers-in-laws. Yeah, I don't like in-laws either. 2 mother-in-laws with an attitude. Oh yeah. Young son, is it true, Dad? I have heard that some parts of Africa, a man doesn't know his wife until he marries her. Uh, and the dad says that happens in every country, son. Yeah, make sure you know your wife or your soon to be hubby. Give it a year or 2 or 3 or 10. I watch Dateline and killer shows, and these women just jump into these marriages, and then 6 months later they're dead, and he was a serial killer from 20 years ago. Uh, the most effective way to remember your wife's birthday is to forget it once. Yeah. If you want your wife to listen and pay undivided attention to every word you say, talk in your sleep. Women will never be equal to men until they walk down the street with a bald head and a beer gut and still think that they look beautiful. Huh. Oh boy. Then there was a man that says, I never knew what real happiness was until I got married. Then it was too late. Boy, this is wife bashing day. Huh. All right, folks, that's it. Subscribe and hit the like button and the thumbs up and share our show. Now I was going to have Leon today, but it's just going to be me. I have a lot of important info, um, and have him on next week. He had a lot of info. I talked to Lee for about an hour and a half, and I got to thinking, you know what? It's going to be if I put him on tonight, it would it would run too long because I've got info, he's got info, and it would be a 2 3 hour show. So come on back in the next hour for with me with the news, a little bit of news, and on the border. What's up? It's not just the border. What is going on? What is going on in this world? It's not just the United States, it's the whole world. So come on back and watch. Subscribe, hit the like button. Ring my bell so that you know when I'm on. And I really appreciate everyone's comments and emails and your support. So come on back tomorrow. Tomorrow night is trivia. I'm looking forward to it. So with that, you guys have a wonderful Thursday. And we will see you tomorrow, or we'll see you in 30 minutes.